Attack profile, sir. Attack profile. To ensure the enemy cannot monitor voice transmission or plant false transmission, the CRM114 is to be switched into all receiver circuits. The emergency base code prefix is to be set on the dials of the CRM. This will block any transmission other than those preceded by a code prefix. Stand by to set code prefix.
Roger. Ready to set code prefix.
Set code prefix.
Code prefix set.
Lock code prefix.
Code prefix locked.
Switch all receiver circuits to CRM discriminators.
All circuits switch to CRM discriminators.
Check all of destruct circuits.
All of the struct circuits checked.
Primary target the ICBM complex at Laputa. Target reference Yankee Golf Tango 360. 30 megaton nuclear device used for airburst at 10,000 feet. 20 megaton nuclear device will be used if first malfunction. Otherwise, proceed to secondary target. Missile complex 7 miles east of Barshaw. Target reference November Bravo X-ray 108. Used airburst at 10. Check 12,000 feet.
Good, sir. Something rather interesting's just cropped up. Listen to that. Music. Civilian broadcasting. I think those fellows in the Pentagon are giving us some sort of exercise to test our readiness. Personally, I think it's taking things a bit too far. Our fellows will be inside Russian radar cover in about 20 minutes. Listen to that. Trouble about police stations, all churning it out.
Mandrake?
Yes, sir?
I thought I issued instructions for all radios on this base to be impounded.
Well, you did indeed, sir, and I was in the process of impounding this very wide when I had to switch it on. I thought to myself, our fellows hitting Russian radar cover in 20 minutes, stopping all that stuff, I'd better tell you, because if they do, it'll cause a bit of a stink, huh?
Your captain, the officer exchange program does not give you any special prerogatives to question my orders.
Well, I realize that, sir, but I thought you'd be rather pleased to hear the news. And after all, let's face it, we don't want to start a nuclear war unless we really have to.
Please sit down and turn that thing off.
Yes, sir. What about the plane, sir? Surely we must issue the recall code immediately.
Captain, the planes are not going to be recalled. My attack orders have been issued and the orders stand.
Well, if you'll excuse me saying so, that would be, to my way of thinking, rather an odd way of looking at it. You see, if a Russian attack was in progress, we would certainly not be hearing civilian broadcasting.
Are you certain of that, Mandrake?
That's a bit positive, I guess.
Now, what if it is true?
Well, I'm afraid I'm still not with you, sir, because, I mean, if a Russian attack was not in progress, then your use of Plan R, in fact, your orders the entire wing. Yeah. I would say, sir, that there was something dreadfully wrong somewhere.
Now, why don't you just take it easy, Group Captain? And please make me a drink of grain alcohol and rainwater and help yourself to whatever you'd like.
General Rippers, as an officer in Her Majesty's Air Force, it is my clear duty, under the present circumstances, to issue the recall code upon my own authority and bring back the wing. You'll probably excuse me, sir. I'm afraid last group the key and the recall code. Have you got them handy, sir?
I told you to take it easy, Group Captain. There's nothing anybody can do about this thing now. I'm the only person who knows the three-letter code group.
Then I must insist, sir, that you give them to me. Do I take it, sir, that you are threatening a brother officer with a gun?
Mandrake, I suppose it never occurred to you that while we're chatting here so enjoyably, a decision is being made by the President and the Joint Chiefs in the war room at the Pentagon. And when they realize there is no possibility of recalling the wing, there will be only one course of action open. Total commitment. Mandrake, do you recall what Clemenceau once said about war?
No, I don't think I do, sir, no.
He said war was too important to be left to the generals. When he said that, 50 years ago, he might have been right. But today, war is too important to be left to politicians. They have neither the time, the training, nor the inclination for strategic thought. I can no longer sit back and allow communist infiltration, communist indoctrination, communist subversion, and the international communist conspiracy to sap and impurify all of our precious bodily fluids.
Okay, so why is it taking so fucking long?
Mr. President, the Secretary of State is in Vietnam, the Secretary of Defense is in Laos, and the Vice President is in Mexico City. We can establish contact with them at any time if it's necessary. The undersecretaries are all here, of course.
Right. Now, General Turgidson, what's going on here?
Mr. President, about 35 minutes ago, General Jack Ripper, the commanding general of Burleson Air Force Base, issued an order to the 34 B-52s of his wing, which were airborne at the time, as part of a special exercise we were holding called Operation Dropkick. Now, it appears that the order called for the planes to attack their targets inside Russia. The planes are fully armed with nuclear weapons with an average load of 40 megatons each. Now, the central display of Russia will indicate the position of the planes. The triangles are their primary targets. The squares are their secondary targets. The aircraft will begin penetrating Russian radar cover within 25 minutes.
General Turgidson, I find this very difficult to understand. I was under the impression that I was the only one in authority to order the use of nuclear weapons.
That's right, sir. You are the only person authorized to do so. And although I hate to judge before all the facts are in, it's beginning to look like General Ripper exceeded his authority.
Fuck.
It certainly does. Far beyond the point I would have imagined possible.
Well, perhaps you're forgetting the provisions of Plan R, sir.
Plan R?
Plan R is an emergency war plan in which a lower echelon commander may order nuclear retaliation after a sneak attack if the normal chain of command has been disrupted. You approved it, sir, you must remember. Surely you must recall, sir, when Senator Buford made that big hassle about our deterrent lacking credibility. And the idea was for Plan R to be a sort of retaliatory safeguard.
A safeguard?
I admit the human element seems to have failed us here, but the idea was to discourage the Ruskies from any hope that they could knock out Washington and yourself, sir, as part of a general sneak attack, and escape retaliation because of lack of proper command and control.
Well, I assume then that the planes will return automatically once they reach their fail-safe points.
Well, no, sir, I'm afraid not. You see, the planes were holding at their fail-safe points when the go code was issued. Now, once they fly beyond fail-safe, they do not require a second order to proceed. They will continue until they reach their target.
Then why haven't you radioed the planes countermanding the go code?
Well, I'm afraid we're unable to communicate with any of the aircraft.
Why?
As you may recall, sir, one of the provisions of Plan R provides that once the go code is received, the normal SSB radios in the aircraft are switched into a special coded device, which I believe is designated as CRM-114. Now, in order to prevent the enemy from issuing fake or confusing orders, CRM-114 is designed not to receive at all, unless the message is preceded by the correct three-letter code group prefix.
Then do you mean to tell me, General Turgidson, that you will be unable to recall the aircraft?
That's what's silent. However, we are plowing through every possible three-letter combination of the code. But since there are 17,000 permutations, it's going to take us about 2.5 days to transmit them all.
How soon did you say the planes would penetrate Russian radar cover?
About 18 minutes from now, sir.
Are you in contact with General Ripper?
No, sir, no. General Ripper sealed off the base and cut off all communication.
Where did you get all this information?
General Ripper called Strategic Air Command Headquarters shortly after he issued the go code. I have a portion of the transcript of that conversation if you'd like me to read it.
Read it.
The duty officer asked General Ripper to confirm the fact that he had issued the go code, and he said, yes, gentlemen, they are on their way in, and no one can bring them back. For the sake of our country and our way of life, I suggest you get the rest of SAC in after them. Otherwise, we will be totally destroyed by red retaliation. My boys will give you the best kind of start, 1,400 megatons worth. And you sure as hell won't stop them now. So let's get going. There's no other choice. God willing, we will prevail in peace and freedom from fear, and in true health through the purity and essence of our natural